This is Skyblock, a world where you spawn into a very small island in the sky, with one tree, a few supplies, and hopefully the will and ability to survive. Today, we're playing a version called Skyblock Infinite, where there are infinite number of mini-biome-based islands and structures floating in the sky. But getting to them is a challenge. And scary. My shift pinky can only take so much. And for some stupid reason, I've decided to play hardcore mode. So as we start our journey towards trying to survive 100 days on this epic Skyblock island, we are spawned into our teeny tiny little island in the sky. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break the grass in the hopes of getting some grass seeds that we can later... Oh crap, never mind, there's no seeds. Ooh, but there is a ship down there. Ooh, so far no seeds means no food. I'm trying not to panic, but that is a little concerning because we are definitely going to need some food, and now we have no crops that we can plant. So I will turn that nervous energy into digging dirt so that we can get a few things set up and running, one of which being a cobblestone generator, because we're definitely going to need some cobblestone. And we can use that cobblestone to help us expand our island, so we've got a little bit more elbow room. But I think what I want to do next is I want to grab just a couple of the logs so that we can make a wooden pickaxe. And then we can set our cobblestone generator up. Oh, that's not good. All right, let me put a little safety block over here. I mean, I'm close enough to this. I should be able to get it if I crouch and kind of lean into it. I will leave a log up there so that the saplings will not start to fall and the leaves will not decay, at least until our platform is built out a little bit so we don't risk losing any saplings. And that way we can head over here and make our first crafting table. And then we can get a wooden pickaxe and get the cobblestone generator up and running. So here's a peek into the starting supplies. Our lava and ice for the cobblestone generator, and there was also some sugar cane, a sea pickle, and obsidian and glowberries. So I don't necessarily know the best uses for all of them yet. I've got some ideas, but we'll see if my thinking is correct. So I got all the pieces in place, managed to make the first wooden pickaxe, which shall go down in history for this world, and managed to get my first few painfully slow but incredibly rewarding pieces of cobblestone. And then I decided it would probably be a good idea to make up some cobblestone slabs and place them underneath the dirt blocks on our island so that at some point we can rearrange our precious dirt to elsewhere if we want to make some farms and such. So day one seemed to fly by very, very quickly. As soon as I started working on expanding our little island, it started to get dark out, so I figured I would put in some overnight hours at the cobblestone generator. And I'm sure you can relate to the fact that grinding away at all that cobblestone gets to be very, very monotonous, so I figured I would break things up a little bit and go over and get our sapling finally so that we can start our little tree farm. And really, I'm hoping to get some apples because we desperately need some food. And I still see no saplings, and I feel like the platform, nothing should be falling off. Oh, all right, come on, one. Gotta be one of these. Nothing? Oh, great. And our water froze. I wonder if that's what the sea pickle's for. Oh my gosh, seriously, there are no saplings down here. That looked like a sapling, but it's not. Are you serious? Are you serious? A stick. You gave me a stick. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is not good. We have no food, and now we have no trees. With the arrival of day 2, I'm thinking that shipwreck is our number one priority. Number 1, we can see if there's any food that we can plant. And number 2, if nothing else, we can get some of the wood from the shipwreck itself. I do not like doing this. Oh, but we are literally at a point of desperation. It makes my palms sweaty. At least the ship seems oddly lit up. And I'm very relieved that there were no mobs waiting for us, and even got a couple of ink sac welcome gifts as a pleasant surprise. Ooh, so since we're lacking for wood a little bit, I might as well grab as much as I can from this ship on our way to see what treasures await us. I am praying that there's some potatoes. Ugh. Okay, well, we'll take everything that we can, including the chest. Oh, that's rotten. Literally, that is a dirty trick, not a single plantable crop. Ooh, doggy, it's getting dark down here. Oh my gosh, yes. All right, it's not a potato, but wow, that is essential. Thank goodness. Well, finally, things started to look like maybe they would start going our way until this happened. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was so lucky he fell off. Oh, it's so lucky that I fell into the water. Dang. Oh, it almost all ended. I don't even know what to do. Now I'm scared to go back up. Oh my gosh, I need food so bad. Oh, well, that's not the kind of food that I need. This world has been a serious grind so far. The series that I've watched from other people, it goes so beautifully at the beginning, planting crops and chopping down trees, and it's such a beautiful process to watch, and I feel like we have had a rotten string of luck. From rotten potatoes to rotten flesh. Ew. At the end of day 2, I decided to try my hand at putting together a little platform so that some mobs could spawn there and we could get some of the drops. Until we can do a proper mob farm, well, it ain't pretty, but hopefully it will do the trick. So I realized with some of our bone drops from the skeletons at our little mob platform that we can now make bone meal. And the one thing that we do have that could almost kind of sort of be a food source is those glowberries. Not ideal, but we're desperate. I decided it would probably be a good time to branch out and see if we can get to one of the other floating islands out there. The original plan was the ruined nether portal that I could spot off in the distance. But once I got a little closer and turned around, to my surprise, we have found one of the most beautiful islands I think I've ever seen. I'm so happy. I will be very, very, very careful chopping this down. I will protect the saplings at all costs. So I don't know if you've heard this, but there are actually 2 camps in Minecraft. One who think that you get more saplings if you let the leaves naturally decay, and the other group who thinks it doesn't make any difference because it's all based on random probability anyway. And since nobody ever says you get more by breaking them, I will let them naturally decay. And we have been rewarded! We have a sapling! Please let there be more. But I'm so happy to have even just one. Oh, this is huge, you guys. This is huge. I made a quick detour to the ruined nether portal and picked up the goodies out of that chest. And I do believe we've got a little desert island off in the distance there, but I don't think that's anything we need right now. Well, I know I literally just said we didn't need anything from the little desert biome, but it was so close and the path was already most of the way there and I couldn't resist it. Wow, apparently this is a prime location. We've got a couple of other items of interest out here. That one looks very, very big and intimidating. I don't know what it is. I'm thinking maybe a stronghold? I don't know. Whatever it is, I'm pretty sure we are not prepared for it. So for the next little bit, I really just wanted to focus on resource gathering. And we finally got a spruce tree. So I will be babysitting that to make sure that we don't miss any saplings. But I really wanted to work on gathering some food and supplies so we can continue to go out exploring. I'd really, really like to find some more water so that we can have an infinite water supply and put up a proper mob farm. Oh dear. Wow, okay. Well, in Bedrock, you know, you can put trapdoors above lava and they do not catch on fire. However, Java, not so much. That's not what I expected to see. Yes, we've got a sapling. It's only one. Hopefully we'll get a few more just for a little insurance policy. They are decaying extremely fast too. That's kind of weird. It's weird because I have also felt like the days are extremely short, and I don't know if it's just because I feel like there's so much we have to do in a short amount of time, or if the game speed is moving faster in this than other gameplay. I'm not sure. Dang it. Well, unless this last leaf block decides to gift us with a sapling, we only got one from that tree, but at least we got one. Hope is still alive. More and more I realize what a priority water is going to be for us, so I'm kind of tempted to go back out to that very large structure just to see if it's a stronghold, because there are fountains in the stronghold that we could get some water from. So we might have to just kind of take a little peek out there and see what we've got. What we don't have is a second sapling. But at least we have one. We will be thankful for what we have, and we will very tenderly plant it back in the ground and hope that it will gift us with an abundance of saplings on the next one. So I did venture out to see what that big monstrosity of a structure is, and it is nothing that I recognize, which leads me to believe it is probably a trial chamber, which I have never been a part of. I have taken a break during all of those updates, so yeah, it's probably not something I'm going to tackle right now. But what I did tackle was another little treasure chest that I found floating in the sky, and very happily helped myself to all of its treasures. Between the snowfall and the spruce tree, it was beginning to look a lot like Christmas, so I figured I would go ahead and chop the tree down and see if it would gift us with some more saplings. We must have accidentally been put on the nice list because, my goodness, we got a lot of saplings. 13! It was practically raining saplings. I've never seen that many come out of a tree, I don't think. Or maybe it's because we just feel desperate. I decided to go spread a little bit of the love around, and then I got started on our first official platform off of our Sky Island base. And this will be where we're going to grow our trees at. So a bit of a spoiler alert for you. Later on, I'm going to realize that these circles are actually a little bit small for what I wanted them for. So I'm going to attempt to expand them, and they will basically turn into blobs. But that's a problem for another day. For now, there is a world beyond this platform that beckons me. I've been trying so hard to be really careful with the iron that we have, because I know it's really hard to come by. But I decided that it's probably a pretty good investment to make up some iron armor, because if we are going to go looking to tackle some of the bigger structures out there, we really need to be as well defended as possible. I know we've still got quite a lot of work to do over here. It's still very rough around the edges, but I like the direction that it's going in. I spent the rest of the evening working on another tree platform. And you know what's weird is I noticed that I haven't seen any phantoms. So I don't know if that's just coded into this version of the game, or if it's because of the biome we're in, or what the deal is. I'm not complaining, mind you, but I just found it was odd. But I still remain vigilant just in case they decide to pop up. All right, single sapling is planted. Hopefully we'll get some extras from it. I am so happy at the progress that we are finally starting to make, but we still have a lot of work left to do. So I am going to spend the rest of the evening grinding away at the cobblestone generator. I had a lot of thinking time last night, and while I was thinking, I all of a sudden had a thought that hit me right between the eyes. Let me show you. Now, I don't know if you remember seeing on the other side of this mob platform, Hang on, let me get my trophies here. Oh, and sir, this is classified information. I am going to have to ask you to vanish. But anyway, if you look way off in the distance there, you can see what appears to be a mangrove tree. And I was thinking, oh, I love mangrove. But it's such a pain to deal with sometimes because you have to go out to the swamp and navigate all the mud and water. Wait, the mud and water? So we are going to bridge our way out there and see if we can finally, once and for all, solve our water problem. You know what's worse than going 15 days crying about needing another source of water and realizing it's right across from your base? It's going 15 days and realizing you forgot to turn on your shader pack. Oops. But we won't talk about that. The next order of business is to tear down the old mob platform and prepare to build ourselves a proper mob farm now that we have an infinite supply of water. Unfortunately, I can't just make it easy and build it out of the supplies that we already have on hand. I just think that too much cobblestone is ugly. I don't like it. It's overwhelming to me. So I know we've got that big trial chamber out there, and while I've never actually been to a trial chamber, kind of curious if we could safely nibble away at some of the blocks and use those for the mob grinder. Mob farm. Whatever. You know what I mean. The big tall platform in the sky. Oh, it would be so nice to have some mode of transportation to these destinations other than a one-wide path that has no safety rails. It makes me a nervous wreck. I'm not good at running those narrow paths. So I did manage to make my way down onto the roof of the trial chamber, and to my surprise, there is actually like a 2-layer thick ceiling and wall to this structure. I don't know if there is some reason it's there that I will later learn to regret, but for now I'm very happy about it. In fact, I got so brave, I even managed to tiptoe around the inside a little bit. I managed to navigate my way safely to a couple of chests. Here I thought I was going to hit the absolute jackpot, and instead I pretty much hit a couple of chests worth of dookie, if you don't mind my saying. I then managed to find an awkwardly placed trapdoor, so of course I had to go investigate. I feel like I'm robbing a bank, so I expect there to be something... Ooh, that looks dangerous. Something good in here. If I can do it safely, but I don't think I can, so I'm going to retreat. I can't help it. I'm not prepared for this yet. One day, just not today. I continue to tiptoe my way through the structure, collecting all of the good blocks that I so desired, and was ready to go home. And when I tried to get over to my exit out of here, I got absolutely blasted by slimes who normally I'm not afraid of whatsoever. But they really did a number on me. Holy cow, I forget how strong they are when you don't have good armor. So I decided to retreat back into the trial chamber and continue to collect blocks until daylight. In the midst of this, I did manage to identify a secret little passageway, and I found what I will call the hidden room, although I'm sure there is a much more technical term for it. But oh my gosh. And I know this is going to sound really weird, but oh my gosh, you guys, it's been like 17 days and it's the first bed I've seen. This is huge. This is like a huge accomplishment at this point. And to top it all off, we finally have a bow. I don't exactly know what the bad omen ominous bottle is, and I think at this point I am going to leave it here for now. I continued to collect blocks for the rest of the night, and when daylight finally came, I got to try out my bow and arrow for the very first time, and then I finally managed to make my way safely back home. There were just a few more things I wanted to get ready and supplies I wanted to gather before we started the mob farm, and I blinked and all of a sudden, it was like 4 days later. Day 23, and I finally learned it's a good idea to install free cam so I can make sure that I've actually made a circle this time. And from there, we can finally start working on the mob farm. I began by laying out a bit of a pattern with the blocks I have collected to find what I would like to do for the walls. Now, I did also put a 21 block tall pillar of cobblestones so that I would not accidentally go up too high, because I have been known to do things like that. And once I got a pattern I was happy with, I went to town. Hello? Please say hello to Larry the llama. He decided to stick around for a little while. As for the other two, they left to go to summer camp, and yeah, I'm sure they're having a great time. It didn't take long, and I got my carrot and potato that I was so hoping for. And every time I would tell myself that I needed to leave and go do something more productive, I would end up standing there whacking at feet again. Because it's really addictive. It's hard to leave it. I came up with the very strange idea of making myself a little fishing hole just off of the mob farm platform here. I figured that way, while I'm waiting for the mobs to collect, which does not take long, mind you, I could be over here fishing and getting a little bit of extra food for our journeys. And as weird as it sounds, fishing is actually one of my more favorite things to do in the game. Ooh, I definitely need to make sure I remember to light this up, because the last thing I want is to get blown up down here. That would not be a relaxing fishing experience. So I'm thinking, make a fishing rod, cast your line, relax for a couple of days, stock up on fish. And then I went down to the little fishing hole, and it was literally like stocked to the gills with fish, pun intended. So I figured, why not save myself some time and do this the easy way? So I jumped in, and it was kind of like shooting fish in a barrel, but with a sword. Now that we have restocked our food supply, I figured I would head back up to the mob farm and take a whack at some ankles and see if we could finally get lucky and get ourselves a zombie villager. And then I heard it. It was a low, gurgly cry for help. I blocked off the drop chute so that no more mobs could fall, and then I took my trusty axe and I picked off the exposed feet one by one, trying to be very careful to not accidentally hit our villager friend. I made him a quick little shelter so he wouldn't get a sunburn when the sun comes up, and I made him a boat so he would feel cool, like, I don't know, he's a captain or something. He's cranky now, but he'll thank me in the morning. Oh, Larry is not at all amused by this. Larry, hold on, buddy. We need him. No. Jeez. Okay, I don't know what happened between those two, but they've got beef. Literally, just a few minutes later, I saw a very familiar-looking outfit amongst the feet, and I realized our villager has a friend who needs rescued. With 2 villagers under our belt, all we've got to do now is figure out where we're going to get 2 golden apples and a weakness potion. With the loss of our initial oak tree, we currently have no way to get any apples. Off in the distance, I see a little island that seems to be home to a birch tree. So I made my way over to the birch island and put a little safety platform around it and prepared to chop it down. Now, I recognize there is a camp of hate for birch trees, saying that they are basically useless. But by golly, if this tree gives me an apple, it will be my favorite tree in this world. Well, it turns out the birch tree did not give me any apples, but it did give me 2 saplings, so I will replant one here and take one back to our base. Back at the base, I set up a mini birch tree farm, and I planted and chopped down one birch tree after another, after another, after another, and not a single apple, which then brought me to the question, wait a second, can birch trees actually drop apples? What? That's why nobody likes you, birch trees. I ventured back out again and found myself a little tiny dark oak forest. Can you call it a forest if it's only one tree? I don't know. I feel like probably not. But in any event, I chopped it down, managed to get 1 apple and 3 saplings. If you know dark oak, you know that does no good because you need 4 saplings. But at least we got an apple, and I am grateful for that. In the eerie depths below us is a shipwreck that might be worth checking out. I mean, sure, it's dark out, but what could possibly go wrong? Now that we've got some daylight, I think we should be safe to board the ship. Whew, thankfully, there are no mobs down here. The ship has definitely seen better days. All right, let's be something good. Oh, if it was day 1, it would be good, but not so good. Not so good for today. Oh, look, actual use for birch. When I got back home and was emptying my pockets, I realized I totally forgot about that golden apple we got from the ruined portal on one of the earlier days. So we've actually got enough golden apples for our zombie villagers. When I headed back over to tell the fellows the good news, I realized we had some visitors on the top of the mob platform. It seems these days this is becoming the wandering trader farm. I didn't exactly know what those open eye blossoms are. I think that is part of the new update that I know very little about, but it sounded interesting and I was feeling a little saucy, so decided to purchase some. Whoa! After nearly 40 days, those are the first phantoms I've seen, which leads me to believe that maybe it was an elevation thing that was preventing them from spawning, because I did dig out that original island to be a couple blocks slower than what it began as, so that's the only thing I can figure out. I don't know. If you know the answer, let me know in the comments, because I'm actually really curious. In the meantime, I identified a couple of little chicken legs in the mob spawner, so I figured why not? Let's save the little fella and give him a new lease on life. Kinda like we did with the second llama that we're not gonna talk about. Speak of this to no one. Ooh, did you hear that? That was the cackle of a witch, and we need a witch because that is what is going to help us in curing our zombie villagers. And we're totally saving this chicken too. Since I'm a little bit skeptical of how things are going to go in this, let's move our new friends to a safer location so nothing bad happens to them. And for those that have no idea what it is I'm even doing, is I'm going to get the witch into a boat over by where those zombie villagers are, because when the witch throws potions, there's a chance that they can throw a potion of weakness, which is exactly what we need in order to cure those zombie villagers. That way we don't have to worry about how we're going to make a brewing stand and get the ingredients to be able to brew the potion. We will let the witch do the hard work for us. My plan is to try and control this chaos as much as possible by creating a channel for the witch to follow, which will eventually lead them into the boat. So pretty much I'd let myself get poisoned, entertain myself in between rounds, go at it again, until finally the witch threw a weakness potion and infected our little friends over here, who finally got their medicine and were on their way to a brand new life. You're welcome, fellas. Finally, a miracle happened, and he was cured. Oh my gosh, and he passed the bone to the front. I didn't know they could do that. I did keep my eyes on El Capitan up there in the front to make sure he kept his hands to himself. Since things were starting to fall nicely into place, I figured this would probably be a good time to start work on building a platform for our future iron farm. In case I forgot to mention it, yes, I do plan to build an iron farm. In the meantime, I went and grabbed some taters and gave it to the fellas so that they could do whatever it is they do best. And in the amount of time it took me to go make a boat for future relocation purposes for one of these fellas, they already had a little tater tot bouncing on the bed. And yes, those are, in fact, Christmas present chests that you see, because at the time of this recording, it is the Christmas holiday. At this point, I figured while I waited for Tiny Tot in there to grow up, I would start working on some of the supplies that we are going to need for our future iron farm. One of the supplies we are going to need is a bunch of glass. So we are going to work on making ourselves some books, to make a bookshelf, to make a lectern, so we can have ourselves a librarian as one of the villagers and do some trades for glass. I was hoping we would get a sweet book deal out of the mix, however, we got smite. But I guess beggars can't be choosers, or is it choosy mothers choose Jip? Well, either way, we did eventually work our trades up to the fact that we did get the glass trade, and that is what it was all about anyway. But seriously, Smite, it is now time for us to venture out because we need to see if we can get ourselves some gravel and some flint. I can see one more little surprise hiding behind us. Ooh, dripstone could come in very, very handy for us as well. But first, gravel. The gravel we're going to need so that we can duplicate some dirt. More on that later. And the flint we're going to need so that we can make a fletching table and get ourselves a fletcher. Trigger warning, I do not have one of those little brushes to brush the suspicious gravel. I think you need a piece of copper for that, and I don't have any clue where to get a copper ingot unless the trial chambers, but we're not ready for that. That's our end goal. So, yeah, I'm just gonna break it. We're all just gonna have to suffer through it. That is an odd place for a piece of grass. I think these blocks will come in very handy. Ah! For a minute I thought that was flint in there, but the coal fooled me. We'll be fine. Well, we definitely stocked up on some gravel, but unfortunately we got no flint out of that. Just a quick pit stop. I continued on my journey looking for either gravel or some more grass blocks. So it looks like we are close to a mini flower forest, as well as what appears to be an acacia tree. So we will bridge our way out and grab some of those supplies. It will at least help the cause. Not gonna lie, acacia is not my favorite wood in the game, but I don't hate it the way that other people do or the way that I hate birch. So I'll go ahead and grab some of these saplings and help myself to all of the dirt that I'm able. As luck would have it, there also happens to be a shipwreck not too far away from where we are at, and I think it would be worthwhile to go see if we can get some treasures from there. Once daylight hit, I boarded the vessel and found one chest that did make it worthy of our time. Next stop was the little flower biome, where we could at least get some more grass blocks and a few decorative flowers to spruce things up a bit. After that was a ruined nether portal that was not too far away. If we strike out and we don't find flint at this nether portal, there are some other gravelly options out there that we can go explore. And it looks like there's even another trial chamber out there that might come in handy as well. But first we will see what treasures this nether portal has to offer, starting with the gold. Yes! That is almost more valuable than gold, as we found ourselves some much needed flint. It might seem like a small thing to you, but when you have such limited resources and you're struggling to get something, it is huge when you finally get it. I'm super happy. I set up a little trading shop for our resident Fletcher, but it still needed one more little special touch. Our little mob farm has produced items that I didn't even consider that we would need down the road, but I don't know, I just think our Fletcher deserves a little bit of ambiance. So, that he shall get. Now all that's left to do is to transport El Capitan over to his new spot, and hopefully he likes it. As we were traveling along our way to his new career path, he started to second-guess his life choices and considered his options in the fishing industry, but eventually I talked him out of it and convinced him that being a Fletcher is really where his true happiness lies. But more importantly, it's where my happiness lies, because we really need somebody that's going to let us do some stick trades. Attaboy. Now that we've got all of the tricky pieces in place, the only thing left to do is resource gather so that we have all the supplies we need in order to build the iron farm. Now we do need to run out to the trial chamber real quick to grab some more blocks, but first we've got a little bit of unfinished business here. We've got this one villager who refuses to sleep and refuses to work. So I'll just be sending him off to summer camp while the others are sleeping. Sorry. With those unpleasantries out of the way, it is time to head back out to the trial chamber. Now this is kind of our ultimate destination. This is why we are working so hard to get some diamond enchanted gear. But for now, we are just going to borrow some of their building blocks. Oh, but no more of those blocks. That is terrifying. I'm out of here. And that is why we are not truly going in there until we have proper gear. Now that we are safely back home, let me show you the state of things. I have laid out the foundation for the iron farm just to make sure it is going to be properly placed on this platform. I want to make sure we've got plenty of room to comfortably walk around all of the important features of it. And there are definitely some really cool features about it, so you definitely want to stick around for that. But in the meantime, there are a couple more little good housekeeping things that we need to take care of in preparation for the iron farm build. And one of which involves our dripstone here. As you can see on the one side, we've got the water for the dripstone so we can make more of it. And then our empty chamber, we are going to go grab our one and only source of lava that we are currently using for our cobblestone generator. And we are going to put that up there so that we can then get some more lava. So we can have some for the iron farm and some for the cobblestone generator, and then we'll even start to have some extra that we can use for fuel. With all of those pieces ready to go, the last thing that we need to take care of is putting that gravel to good use. We are going to duplicate some of our dirt so that we have enough for the top of the farm. You will see that there are a couple of platforms requiring dirt with this build. So all we need to do is place the coarse dirt down and then either convert it to farmland or a path block, and then once you break it, it's back to normal dirt again. Pretty handy. So at this point, it is time to start our very amazing build. This is a design by Arystotle Gaming. I will leave a link in the description. But how this works is the bottom section is where our baby villagers will fall and grow up. In the middle section, that is going to be our iron farm. On the very top section is where the villager breeding actually takes place that creates the babies that fall down into that bottom chamber. And then what you don't see yet is there's going to be a section on the back that will be a automatic potato farm. You could do carrots if you want, but I prefer the taters. So the next thing that we have to do is we need to get... Oh, I forgot that the water freezes. I hate this biome. I really do. But we need to get a zombie in here. That is because we are going to need him for our iron farm. So luckily it is easy enough by going over to the mob spawner and we can grab ourselves a willing participant. I would love to grab Mr. Fancy Pants there. Oh, and luckily he is holding a string, so he should be perfect. I'm sure everybody probably already knows this, but if you don't have a name tag for one of the zombies, then as long as they're holding something, they will not despawn. So after a quick round of follow the leader, I was finally able to get the zombie to go into his brand new forever home. He'll be fine. I mean, at least he's got something to do all day, and he's got his piece of lucky string. On the very top section, we are going to put all of our farmland and plant. In this case, I did end up planting carrots because I had tons of carrots. And hopefully nobody notices that the farm is uneven up top. It won't affect anything. It'll be fine. And we will put the fencing around the outside of that to keep anybody from falling off the edge, including myself. And then, of course, we want to put a roof on it so that lightning does not strike, causing our villagers to turn into witches. And with that, we are mostly, not entirely, but mostly done. And soon this section will be full of villagers ready to work and be picked up by their Uber minecarts right in this corner. All right, with that being said, the farm is now officially finished and working beautifully. With the iron farm done, the next thing we need to do is work on a platform for the villagers. And I've kind of got an idea for some of the design, which is going to require a little bit of extra gravel. So pack your travel bag because we are going to bridge out once again to collect some resources. Why do I always forget what these things are called? Underwater ruins, right? Although technically right now they are certainly not underwater, they are surrounded by air. But in any event, we are going to grab as many blocks as we can fit in our pockets because we will use all of these for the builds. And definitely going to grab all that gravel. I need it to make some concrete powder. You'll see why in a minute. We have far less sand than we have gravel, but we've got enough to do what we need. So now it is time to work on the actual villager platform, which will go right in this area here. And I think I'm going to do a rounded cornered rectangle. So we need to build the platform down one level. So, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I placed the water down like 2 seconds ago. Oh, for Pete's sake. The platform is pretty much done and has been invaded by cats. So I've also added what I'm calling the iron pit. Not because it's going to generate iron, but because the workers in here will trade emeralds for iron. Oh, what are they? Weaponsmith and toolsmith. And the other one, I don't remember who he is. Fred. And as you can see, this is where I wanted that gray concrete floor. I just wanted them to have a little bit of a grungy floor. Well, our next order of business is we need to start getting the villagers moved over to the platform here so we can finally get some trades going and get ourselves worked up to some diamond gear. This is literally the only way I know that we could possibly get diamond gear, because I've only found 2 diamonds this entire time, and I have no idea how else we would do it if not for the villagers. So to you, good sir, I say that I salute you. I thank you for your service. I wish you happy travels, and I will see you very soon. Woohoo! That was easier than I thought it was going to be. So now that I have the villager workforce in place, the next order of business is to collect some emeralds, and so that we can finally start doing some trades and leveling up our gear. So for the next few days, I literally did nothing but chop down trees, gather crops, and the best part is, while I was doing all of that, the iron farm was collecting iron like crazy. That iron farm was crucial. Not to mention the fact that it has been really nice to have an iron axe and upgrade from a stone axe. It's the little things in life. So finally, we were in a position to do a lot of wheeling and dealing with these fellas, and they did not disappoint. And actually, even the enchantments weren't horrible. I mean, it wasn't the best, but definitely workable. So finally, I was able to get completely outfitted in diamond gear, and it feels fabulous. And in order to show my appreciation for all of their hard work down there, I decided I would do a little extra decorating on the roof of their little shop here. Yeah, it's a little odd, but you know, we work with what we have. I sure wish we had scaffolding. Well, seeing as though we are now decked out in our diamond gear and we've got a little bit of time to spare before heading out to the trial chamber, I figured let's go ahead and make a little bit of a lush platform over here, just so we can kind of cozy things up a bit with a little bit of greenery. I think it would be a nice change from all of the cobblestone and gray palette. I mean, it's nothing against gray. I just really wanted to breathe a little color into the place. And I figured since our laborers were working so hard over here, I would reward them with a few little bits of color to brighten up their day as well. Even though it is nighttime, but, well, I'm sure they'll be happy about it in the morning. Well, it seems as though one of the workers was so pleased with the improvements I made to the property that he decided to do me a solid and sell me a Silk Touch pickaxe. Now, sure, I know there's going to be diamond snobs out there that says, Emmy, it's only an iron pickaxe. But it will come in so handy because now we can make a stone generator and no longer have to cook up our cobblestone, so that'll save us a bunch of time and fuel. So quit being a snob. Now, I was thinking about putting the stone generator somewhere on this platform, probably right over at this end of it. While we're over here, let's take a little peek and see how everything's going. Wow, that is a lot of potatoes that I did not have to farm. That is why this is the best build ever. Now, I've used a ton of the iron, but just to give you an idea, I still got more than enough left. So I'll leave a link to this farm in the description. It's the best one you could build. But for now, I think it's time that we should start building our stone generator. Right after I shovel the driveway. Oh. Even though it's not necessary and it is a luxury item, I decided it would be kind of cool to put some stonemasons right over there, just like that. I added a few extra little touches to our stone generator, and I'll probably change these guys' blocks out once we do some trades. We'll see. But for now, it is down to business. What I'm hoping to get is some colored terracotta. That is actually my entire reason for doing this. I'm hoping for like magenta or pink or purple, something to get some more splashes of pretty colors throughout. Just, I don't want brown and gray and black, please. So I've got a little bit of work to do to be able to keep up with all these trades. Hopefully it will be worth it. Well, as I've been leveling up... Oh, I think that's the first time I've ever experienced thunder snow in Minecraft. Well, anyway, as I've been working my way through the line of Bellas and getting all those bricks, I decided, why not let them live in their natural habitat of bricks? So I swapped them out. But now that we're up to later trades, let's see if we can get lucky. Come on, buddy, make it purty. Oh no! Why would I expect anything different? It's cyan, but it's gray. Let's be real, it's gray. And on my way down the line I went, only to face heartbreak after heartbreak. If it wasn't glazed terracotta, which I will more than likely never use, it was everything gray, like polished andesite, which is fine, I'll use it. Or it was red, which we already have an abundance of, but it's all good. We'll make it work. We have to play the cards we're dealt. Oh, we'll make the best of it. Oh, thanks for nothing. Oh, by the way, I moved the lava farm right over here because as we are heading into the final stretch of these 100 days, I really want to try to start tidying up our living area, and I want to get the platforms as decorated as I possibly can, because this is going to be the snapshot that we leave of this world, and it's kind of our legacy of going from nothing to something pretty extraordinary. It's actually a little bit bittersweet because I'm really going to miss this world. So I've been thinking a lot about this tree. I've been very hesitant to chop it down, although it's really bugging me because it's not centered. But this is the first tree that we ever planted. It was the very first sapling that we got. And so I'm going to preserve it. Now, I am going to chop it down technically, but I'm going to just shift it over. It's going to be all the original blocks just moved over to be centered, and we're going to create kind of a little memorial of our starting point. So my thought process in this, it'll be easy. You know, just add one leaf on one side and then subtract one leaf on the other side, and it'll be great. It'll just shift it over. But if I'm being honest, I got confused and I kind of started to lose count, and I don't really know what I ended up with. I did the best I could. Maybe it's better. I don't know. Maybe it is the same. I'm not sure, but this is what we've ended up with. It kind of looks like a Charlie Brown tree to me, but it's all good. It's cute. Once I finished up our little tribute area, I figured it was time to build a little extra villager hall for our villager platform. I figured we could house some librarians in there. I don't know if we'll really ever have a chance to use them, but I think it's only appropriate that we finish off this platform. In addition to that, it will actually give us a location for one more very special feature that I have not talked about yet, but you will see in just a little bit what it is I'm referring to, and I'm super excited about it. And just like that, our mini villager hall is completed. I think it turned out pretty cute, actually. Now we need to head over to our little memorial here, and I'm going to borrow just a few pieces of the obsidian, and the only 2 diamonds that we have gotten this entire time, I have saved them. I didn't actually have a plan for them, but boy howdy, I've got a plan now. We are going to add an enchanting table to our setup over here. I mean, why not? If we can get one more extra decent enchantment before we go into the trial chamber, and I think our one villager approves. I've not moved the others over quite yet. Oh, dang it, I forgot to grab lapis while I was over there. All right, thank goodness for the sunken treasure ships that came through for the lapis. All right, protection 3 is an upgrade for the boots. So now all that is left to do is to actually head over to the trial chamber. My fear in this 100-day series was that if I went to the trial chamber too early, I would just end up dying and not be able to finish the progress in my world. I mean, let's face it, I am not very good at Minecraft combat. Even with all my upgraded gear, I was still a little bit worried that I would make one fatal mistake and not really make it to day 100. When I first entered, I was a little bit overwhelmed at the amount of mobs coming at me. I mean, I was getting hit a lot. But I was kind of surprised that I really wasn't taking all that much damage. I mean, the poison arrows were annoying, but it really wasn't horrendous. And the mobs seemed relatively easy to deal with. So I wondered, what's all the hype over the trial chambers? And then it happened. I uncovered the immense treasure that the chamber holds. A reward so great that a simple mind can barely comprehend it. And that reward is... well, free chicken, of course. I mean, who doesn't want a nice, tasty fried chicken for free? Okay, I'm sorry. I just thought that was kind of weird that there was a free chicken dispenser. But anyway, I worked my way through the maze of the trial chamber. After fighting my way through the green jello, I managed to get my first trial chamber key. They ended up unlocking loot that was less than impressive. Much to my surprise, it was the clay pots that held the most valuable thing I could have hoped for at this point. It was something I wasn't even expecting to find in there. Oh my gosh, there's actually diamonds in here! That is so cool. And even though it's this late, I know exactly what I want to spend it on. I'm so excited. Okay, I can't wait till we get back home. Woohoo! I think we can finish up here. That is, if I can actually find my way out. This is really kind of confusing. And what better ending to our story could we come up with than to spend one of our very last diamonds on a jukebox? And it seems only fitting that we place it inside of our little villager hall right here. If you would be so kind as to indulge me in leaving you with a few parting words, I was thinking about why I enjoyed Skyblock so incredibly much. And I did. It was probably one of my favorite things I've ever done in Minecraft. I think for me, and I suspect for a lot of people, one of the reasons that I enjoyed this so much and why I enjoy the game of Minecraft in general so much is because there is such an immense amount of pleasure in realizing that you started with nothing and you had to gather everything all on your own in order to create this incredible magical world that is unlike anything that anybody else will ever create, because it is completely your vision and your plans and everything that you've done, and just seeing it go from nothing to what you've made it become. There is such a feeling of satisfaction in creating. And remember, you too are a one-of-a-kind creation, and you matter.